Welcome to Talking Events. I am Josh Nutt, aka Nuts, for Disgruntled Scenario Reviews. Let's jump right into it. Today we are looking at an upcoming game taking place on June 14th to the 16th. It is the titled Installation 04. A Halo-inspired scenario event is being produced by Firefly 13 Paintball Productions, of course being ran by Rob Firefly Rivera, with a missions and lore written by Jared Skibbo, known as Viper Actual. This is all taking place at EMR Event Park in New Milford, PA. This will be the third event in the series. The previous two were also at EMR, Halo the Battle for Reach and Halo the Battle for Reach Bloody Arrow. Picking up the storyline of the Battle of Reach from the previous two events held by Firefly 13, the Pillar of Autumn, a United Nations Space Command frigate, flees Reach and the Covenant, an alien race of zealots. Following the Cole Protocol, a directive set in place by the UNSC that states if a vessel makes contact with alien assets, they must head away from a UNSC core worlds on a randomly generated vector to attempt to safeguard the core worlds from being discovered by the aliens. The Autumn makes a random jump through slip space and upon exiting finds himself near a strange ring world structure, the titular Halo.
He said it! He said it!
Only minutes behind them in their own jump, the Covenant arrives and battle ensues. The Autumn is heavily damaged, and the crew is ordered to abandon ship and head to the Ringworld. The UNSC survivors are rallied by Master Chief, a Spartan super soldier, as they attempt to fight the Covenant and uncover the secrets of Halo.
There it is! There it is!
Of course, on the flip side is the Covenant, who consider these Ringworlds sacred and full of artifacts from the Ring's creators, the Forerunners, another strange race of beings that have long ago disappeared. Because of their religious significance of Halo,
Oh, that's why they call it that.
they see the UNSC's presence as blasphemy of the greatest order and will cleanse them for their mistake. Unknown to both sides, more dangers lurk on Halo in the form of a dangerously ruthless alien parasite known as the Flood. Rampaging to consume all sentient life, they find as they spread across the ring. For them, they do not recognize friend or foe, only the food. What truths and secrets will these two sides uncover on Halo? There's only one way to find out, and that's coming out for a great weekend of Scenario Paintball by Firefly 13. Let's talk commanders. For the UNSC, playing the role of Master Chief is Bishop Wright of Team Select Few, with backup from EXO Chase Traffic Morris of Anarchy. Head-to-head with them is the Covenant, playing Supreme Commander Thal Vadamil. I don't know how to pronounce alien names, is John Sandman Russell of Team Valor, and dealing out the damage with him is EXO Joe Big Mac Corder of Reckless Endangerment. Those are the two main sides you can join for the fight, but as mentioned in the storyline, there is a third faction with some cool game mechanics behind them, which we'll cover in the rules section. The Flood is being helmed by Laurel Pocket Kowalski and Joe Bones Burnett of Sloppy Dogs. I won't be on site for this one, but if I was a betting man, and we all know I am, I'd probably be sure to take the prop bet that the Sloppy Flood will cause some mayhem and frustration for both sides. But I'd toss my money behind the UNSC for no more reason than gut reaction that you should always trust Master Chief to get the job done. Let's look at the rules. Before we cover the event rules, I'd recommend everyone heads over to the EMR website and look over the rules for EMR specifically, as they are in effect at all times. Some important ones are semi-auto and pump markers are allowed. No full auto turbo or multi-round burst modes permitted. Field speed is 280 feet per second or lower. Maximum of 12.5 balls per second. There's no dead man walks allowed in the game, and no barrel tags are allowed in the game. So the event rules. Missions. Throughout the game, there will be missions that will need to be completed for points. How these missions are completed are up to the commanders to figure out. Mission types could be assault and hold point, patrol a point, or retrieve or use props. The props. Props are used throughout the field and are part of the missions. Players may not touch opposing team's props unless otherwise specified. If it's not your team color, leave it alone. If you tamper with the opposing team's prop, then the opposing team will automatically get the point value of the mission and the prop will be removed from play. Interactive props. So for one, we got the comms relay activation switch. We mount it on bunkers or buildings and comprise a green metal box with a green switch inside. When activated, the switch will light up green. A can only be activated by Oni science officers, OSO, and can only be deactivated by a Covenant engineer, a Perugok, CEH. Non-OSO or CEH players cannot interact with switches. Doing so will result in no points being awarded. The Covenant fusion cores will be mounted on bunkers or buildings and compromise a purple cylinder that must be extended to be activated. When activated, the core will light up blue. Can only be activated by a Covenant engineer or Huragok, a CEH. Can only be deactivated by an only science officer, an OSO. Non-CEH or OSO players cannot interact with fusion cores. Doing so will result in no points being awarded. Delivery/retrieval props can be transported by any player. Retrieval props are returned to the respective player's command staff to be turned in for points. Props can only be advanced while in player possession, so no Hail Mary throws. Handoffs are legal within arm's reach. If a player is eliminated while in possession of a prop, that player must drop the prop where they are eliminated. Ordnance prop/demolition missions. Anti-tank mines, that's UNSC. Fragmentation grenades is UNSC. Covenant fusion cores is for the Covenant, and plasma grenades are for the Covenant. Nola Gay paint frags provided to each command staff and acquired from supply drop. Ordnance props can be used for demolition missions or asset denial. E.g., paint frags may also be used in regular play. Asset denial. This is a really cool rule. I really like this. If an intel/weapon prop is in imminent danger of being captured by the enemy after eliminating the carrying player, and that player has an ordnance prop available, then that player may elect to sacrifice the prop and destroy it for partial points. 1. Asset denial sacrifices a ordnance prop/paint frag. The prop and the sacrificing player is eliminated. 2. Players wishing to deny assets must declare asset denial before being hit by paint or otherwise eliminated. 3. After asset is destroyed, the sacrificing player must turn in prop and ordnance to the nearest referee and return to respawn for reinsertion. 4. It is highly encouraged to have the intention of/be in sight of a ref before attempting an asset denial. This will reduce the risk of confusion or being mistakenly shot out. Sporadic props/supply drops. There will be skull props and supply drops located randomly on the field. These are not associated with any missions and are up for grabs to any player that locates them. Props and drop containers must be turned into the command tent to receive points. Supplies can be kept and distributed by the player's respective command staff. So special units, another really cool part of this game. There will be several special game units used by each side that have different abilities. They will be identified by a carried prop. Special units are as follows. Only 2 special units can be on the field at any given time. This excludes only science officers/Covenant engineers. The Covenant Hunter/UNSC Spartan, they have a shield. They are headshot or surrender only. The USNSC only science officer, white lab coat, all hits count. The Covenant engineer/Huragok, colored lab coat, all hits count. UNSC Pelican dropship, handheld white flag, invulnerable until dropship lands. The Covenant Banshee dropship, handheld purple flag, they're invulnerable until a dropship lands. And the medics, blinking staff and shield, they cannot move from location, headshot, or surrender only. The Hunter/Spartan carries a team-colored shield and can only be taken out by surrender or a headshot. The only science officer/Covenant engineer, the Huragok, in order to serve as an engineer or science officer, a player must be wearing a lab coat, which is provided, white for UNSC and pink/purple for Covenant. The CEH/OSO are the only players permitted to interact with activation/deactivation props, relay switches, and the Covenant fusion cores. The CEH and OSO will be allowed to carry markers. Once eliminated, they're unavailable until the start of the next hour. The engineers and the only science officers can be sent on missions individually or as a pair. The engineers or the science officers can be healed by medics with the exception of a headshot. Drop ships, designated by a 1 foot by 1.5 foot handheld flag. Flag must be held above pilot's head to remain invulnerable. Pilot can carry only 4 passengers, 4 plus pilot, and will have a 10-minute fuel timer. Once the pilot lands, they and the passengers are in active play. A pilot cannot take off a second time. Once down, you're down. Players/pilots of drop ships cannot shoot while the ship is moving. Once the ship has landed and the players are active, they may then fire at opposing players. A drop ship can kill a medic by flying within 5 feet of a medic. Medics. Medics are allowed in this game. Each team will have up to 2 deployable medics. Medics will be designated by a blinking staff and a shield. Medics cannot move once they activate their blinking light. Think of them as a drop pod. If the battle progresses away from the medic cannot follow. Medic must stay there or deactivate blinking light and return to base ref. Medics are not allowed inside/crouch behind bunkers at any time. If you are shot, you walk up to the medic and they can wipe your hit and you can reinsert. Headshots cannot be healed by medics. Medics can be shot out with a headshot or a surrender only. Medics cannot self-heal or be healed by other medics. If a medic is shot out, they have to return to the dead box and relinquish the medic pole to the base ref. The medic pole has a 15-minute cooldown, after which a new medic can take the medic pole and return to the field. Anyone can be a medic. They just have to be deployed from the CP with the staff and shield. Once a medic is deployed on the field, the staff and shield cannot be handed off to anyone. If the medic wants to change roles or go off the field, the pole must be returned by the medic to the base ref. Any time a medic pole is returned to the base, it is a 15-minute cooldown period. The Scorpion/Wraith tank, the Teddy tank. Teddy has a 10 minutes of invincibility with shield from deployment from CP. Teddy must remain in the quadrant that is selected upon deployment. Teddy cannot be killed. Teddy has a limited ammo hopper load only. Players may refill Teddy's hopper during deployment. Only available by deployment once per side per hour. The 10 minutes of invincibility starts at deployment. To deploy Teddy, you must bring the silver Teddy block to Firefly at production. Once Teddy indicates that he is out, please stop shooting him. The Flood, this is really cool. I like this aspect. The Flood members will be wearing matching shirts/jerseys. 2 different combat units for them. A combat form, assault unit that can have 1 full hopper per spawn, can be reloaded by carrier forms. No additional pods can be carried by combat forms. B, the carrier form, cannot carry a marker. They reload combat forms using any number of pods carried on their person. Either form is eliminated by a headshot and must respawn. Flood can have any combination of combat or carrier forms. Flood can set flags and slapsticks to neutral, but cannot interact with any other props. The Flood will have a ref present. For the final mission on Sunday, Flood will have separate spawns near mission locations. Do not shoot Flood that has clearly surrendered. I really think that Flood part is really, really cool. It's going to be an interesting third faction, especially how they work with the 2 different units with the carriers and the combat forms. It's going to be real cool to see. I hope I get to see some video of that in the future pop up from this event. There's some really cool scenario ideas here, a lot of cool strategies one could undertake as a commander. So I think the commander really spent some time researching this stuff and understanding how it works and what can be used with what will give them a leg up in this battle. Got to hand it to Firefly on this one. I wish I could make it. Sadly, I cannot make it out to EMR on this one. It's been a long time since I've been there. I'm hoping to get back someday. Thanks for tuning in to Disgruntled Scenario Reviews, guys. I'm Josh Nutt, aka Nuts, saying I hope EMR doesn't get glassed by the Covenant before I get a chance to get back there. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.